The story of small changes. Imagine standing at the base of a mountain. Not just any mountain, but a mountain of personal transformation. Most people look up and see an impossible climb. They think change requires superhuman effort, a radical overhaul, a complete reinvention of self. But what if I told you the secret to climbing that mountain isn't about giant leaps, but about understanding the power of tiny steps? This is the profound insight at the heart of James Clear's Atomic Habits, a book that doesn't just describe change, but deconstructs the very mechanics of human behavior. Let me take you back to a moment that changed everything for Clear. As a young baseball player, he experienced a devastating accident. A broken bat, a hit to the face, multiple surgeries. In that moment of physical and emotional pain, he could have given up. Instead, he became obsessed with a question that would define his life's work. Why do some people break through while others break down? It wasn't about talent. It wasn't about motivation. It was about systems. About understanding the microscopic architecture of human behavior. The word atomic isn't accidental. In physics, an atom is the smallest unit of matter that still maintains the properties of that matter. In habit formation, an atomic habit is the smallest possible change that creates the most significant impact. Imagine a single degree of change in an airplane's trajectory. At takeoff, it seems inconsequential. But by the time that plane reaches its destination, it could be hundreds of miles from its original path. Your habits are that airplane. Your daily choices are that single degree. Clear introduces us to a revolutionary framework. Habits are not about what you do, but who you become. They're not a finish line, but a system of continuous improvement. Most people focus on goals. I want to lose 20 pounds. I want to write a book. But goals are temporary. Systems are eternal. Think about top performers in any field. Olympic athletes, world-class musicians, innovative entrepreneurs. They don't achieve greatness through occasional bursts of brilliance. They win through consistently showing up, through systems that make excellence inevitable. But here's the problem most people face. We live in a world of instant gratification. We want results now. We want the six-pack without the daily workout, the best-selling novel without the daily writing, the financial freedom without the consistent saving. Atomic Habits dismantles this myth. It shows us that breakthrough moments are the result of many smaller, seemingly mundane actions. Like a stone carver who doesn't split a rock with a single massive hammer blow, but through thousands of precise, incremental strikes. The book introduces what Clear calls the 4 laws of behavior change, a blueprint for understanding how habits are formed, maintained, and transformed. These aren't just theoretical concepts. They're practical tools, backed by decades of psychological research, that can be applied to every aspect of life. As we dive deeper, I want you to forget everything you think you know about change. Forget the motivational speeches. Forget the overnight success stories. We're going to explore a more nuanced, more human approach to personal transformation. Are you ready to understand how tiny changes can lead to remarkable results? The first law, make it obvious. Imagine you're an archaeologist, excavating the landscape of your own behavior. The first law of behavior change is about bringing the hidden to light. It's about awareness, the fundamental starting point of any meaningful change. Most of us live on autopilot. We move through our days like ghosts, barely conscious of the thousands of tiny decisions that shape our lives. Clear introduces a radical concept. You cannot change a habit you don't recognize. Picture your current environment. Right now, look around. Every single object is a hidden prompt, a silent invitation to action. That smartphone on your desk. It's not just a device. It's a dopamine delivery system. Those running shoes in the corner. They're either a promise of potential or a silent accusation of inaction. Environmental design becomes your most powerful tool. Clear tells a story about a woman struggling to eat healthier. She tried willpower, motivation, endless diets. Nothing worked. Then she changed one thing, the layout of her kitchen. Fruits and vegetables moved to eye level. Processed snacks buried in hard-to-reach cabinets. Suddenly, healthy eating wasn't about fighting herself. It became the path of least resistance. This is the essence of make it obvious. You're not fighting your environment. You're redesigning it. Let's talk about a concept Clear calls implementation intentions. It sounds complex, but it's beautifully simple. Instead of a vague, "I want to exercise more," you say, "I will exercise for 10 minutes right after I drink my morning coffee in my living room." Specificity is the enemy of procrastination. Then there's habit stacking, another game-changing strategy. You don't create habits in isolation. You piggyback them onto existing routines. After I brush my teeth, existing habit, I will meditate for 2 minutes, new habit. After I pour my morning coffee, I will write 1 paragraph in my journal. But here's where it gets truly fascinating. This isn't just about adding good habits. It's about making bad habits invisible. If you're trying to stop mindless phone scrolling, don't just rely on willpower. Make your phone less attractive. Move social media apps to a second screen. Turn your display to grayscale. Make the environment work against the habit you want to break. Clear introduces a profound psychological principle. Our brains are prediction machines. We don't just react to our environment, we constantly anticipate it. Every visual cue, every object, every spatial arrangement is a potential trigger. A recovering alcoholic knows this intimately. It's not about white-knuckling through cravings. It's about removing bottles from sight. About not walking down certain streets. About redesigning entire social circles. The most successful people aren't more disciplined. They're better architects of their environment. Consider professional athletes. Their entire world is designed to make high performance inevitable. Nutrition planned. Sleep tracked. Training spaces meticulously organized. They don't rely on motivation. They create systems where excellence is the default. But here's the beautiful complexity Clear reveals. This isn't about perfection. It's about visibility. About making the invisible visible. About turning unconscious patterns into conscious choices. Your environment is speaking to you constantly. The question is, are you listening? The second law, make it attractive. Motivation is not a mystical force that arrives like lightning. It's a chemical dance, a neurological symphony conducted by dopamine, the most misunderstood molecule in human experience. Imagine your brain as an ancient survival machine. It doesn't care about your long-term goals. It cares about immediate reward, pleasure, survival. When something feels good, your brain says, "Do more of this." When something feels painful, it screams, "Avoid this at all costs." This is why diets fail. Why exercise plans collect dust. Why learning a new skill feels like climbing Mount Everest in flip-flops. Clear introduces a revolutionary concept. We don't need more willpower. We need to make good habits more attractive than bad ones. Take James, a software engineer struggling to exercise. He tried every motivation trick. Fitness apps, personal trainers, inspirational quotes plastered on his wall. Nothing stuck. Then he discovered something profound. Temptation bundling. He was a podcast addict. So he made a simple rule. The only time he could listen to his favorite podcasts was while at the gym. Suddenly, working out wasn't a chore. It was his podcast time. The dopamine of audio entertainment merged with physical exercise. Your brain is a reward-seeking missile. It doesn't respond to logic. It responds to anticipation of pleasure. Consider the deeper psychology. Every habit is fundamentally a dopamine feedback loop. Scrolling social media. Instant dopamine hit. Eating sugar. Immediate pleasure. Your brain doesn't care about long-term consequences. It wants the quick win. But here's where human complexity enters. We're not just individual actors. We're social creatures. Our habits are dramatically influenced by our tribes. Clear tells a story about a man who wanted to quit smoking. He realized something fascinating. It wasn't just about the nicotine. It was about belonging. Smoking was his social currency, his connection ritual. So he did something counterintuitive. He didn't just try to quit. He found a new tribe, joined a running group, surrounded himself with people who saw health as a lifestyle, not a temporary goal. Your environment is a mirror. Your habits reflect the people around you. Want to read more? Join a book club. Want to eat healthier? Befriend people who see nutrition as a form of self-respect. The most powerful motivational force isn't external reward. It's identity. Stop saying, "I want to meditate." Start believing, "I am a calm, centered person." Stop saying, "I want to get fit." Start believing, "I am an athlete." Habits are not about having something. They're about becoming someone. Clear introduces the concept of decisive moments, those seemingly small choices that cascade into significant outcomes. Choosing the apple over the donut. Picking up a book instead of the remote. Walking past the bar instead of entering. Each of these moments is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. But here's the profound insight most people miss. Motivation follows action, not the other way around. You don't wait to feel motivated to start. You start, and motivation finds you. The third law: make it easy. Effort is the great enemy of habit formation. Not complexity, not challenge, but the sheer energy required to begin. Imagine your brain as a reluctant traveler, always seeking the path of least resistance. Every bit of friction is a potential roadblock. Every unnecessary step a potential excuse. The secret to lasting change isn't motivation. It's simplicity. Clear introduces what he calls the 2-minute rule, a deceptively simple yet profound approach to habit formation. The question isn't, "How do I achieve my ultimate goal?" The question is, what is the smallest possible version of this habit? Want to read more? Don't commit to finishing a book. Commit to reading 1 page. Want to exercise? Don't plan a 2-hour gym session. Commit to putting on your workout shoes. Want to write? Don't pressure yourself to complete a chapter. Write 1 sentence. Most people fail not because they lack willpower, but because they lack ease. Consider the Japanese concept of kaizen, continuous improvement through the smallest possible changes. A factory worker who removes 1 unnecessary step from an assembly line. A writer who writes just 5 more words each day. These microscopic adjustments compound into massive transformations. Clear tells a story about a woman who wanted to play guitar. She didn't buy expensive lessons or a professional instrument. She purchased a cheap guitar and placed it in the most visible spot in her living room. Her only commitment? To pick it up and strum for 2 minutes each day. 2 years later, she was performing at local venues. Friction is the silent killer of dreams. Every additional step between you and your desired habit is a potential moment of surrender. Want to stop mindless phone scrolling? Don't just rely on willpower. Put your phone in another room. Create physical distance. Your environment is either a catalyst or a constraint. Professional athletes understand this intuitively. Their entire world is designed to make high performance inevitable. Clothes laid out the night before. Nutrition pre-planned. Training spaces meticulously organized. They don't fight themselves. They design systems where excellence requires minimal effort. But here's the counterintuitive truth. Easy doesn't mean weak. Easy means sustainable. The most powerful habits are those that feel like they're barely happening. Like a river slowly carving through rock. Not with dramatic explosions, but with persistent, minimal pressure. Reduction is a form of design. Every habit can be broken down. Every complex behavior can be simplified to its atomic core. Writing a book becomes writing a paragraph. Running a marathon becomes walking around the block. Meditation becomes breathing deeply for 60 seconds. Your brain doesn't distinguish between a small action and a large commitment. It only understands action. The barrier between who you are and who you could be is rarely massive. It's usually just 2 minutes wide. The fourth law: make it satisfying. Satisfaction is the ultimate reinforcement mechanism. It's the brain's reward system, the evolutionary trick that transforms occasional actions into deeply ingrained habits. Imagine your habits as a primitive survival algorithm. Your brain doesn't care about long-term health. It cares about immediate pleasure, about what feels good right now. This is why eating a donut feels better in the moment than eating a salad. Why scrolling social media trumps reading a book. Why immediate comfort consistently defeats long-term growth. Clear unveils a profound neurological truth. We repeat behaviors that make us feel good in the moment. Consider the habit tracker, a simple yet revolutionary tool. Every checkmark becomes a tiny dopamine hit. Every completed day, a small victory. It's not about the grand achievement. It's about the satisfaction of not breaking the chain. A professional writer doesn't focus on writing a bestseller. He focuses on the daily pleasure of filling a page. A marathon runner doesn't obsess about the finish line. She learns to find joy in the daily run. But satisfaction is more nuanced than simple pleasure. It's about immediate reward that reinforces the behavior you want to cultivate. Clear tells a story about a man trying to save money. Traditional financial advice would say, think about your future retirement. But our brains don't understand abstract future rewards. So instead, he created an immediate reward system. Every time he saved money, he transferred a small amount to a fund, money he could spend guilt-free on something he enjoyed. Suddenly, saving wasn't a sacrifice. It was a game. This is the art of habit design. You're not fighting human nature. You're working with it. Immediate consequences beat delayed consequences every single time. Our brains are wired for now, not later. A small, immediate reward is more powerful than a large, distant promise. But here's where human complexity enters. Satisfaction isn't just about external rewards. It's about identity, about who you believe yourself to be. The most powerful rewards are internal. The runner who finds peace in movement. The writer who experiences flow in creation. The musician who loses herself in the melody. Habits become attractive when they become a form of self-expression. Never miss twice. This becomes a crucial principle. One missed day is an accident. 2 missed days is the start of a new, undesired habit. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is recovery. Imagine your habits as a delicate ecosystem. Each action either strengthens or weakens the system. Each choice is a vote for the type of person you wish to become. The most successful people aren't more disciplined. They're better at designing systems of immediate satisfaction. Your behavior is a reflection of your identity. But your identity is also a reflection of your behavior. It's a continuous feedback loop, a dance between action and belief. The transformation, beyond habits. We've journeyed through the anatomy of habits. But now, we arrive at the ultimate question. What transforms these principles from a theoretical framework to a lived experience? Identity. Not as a static concept, but as a dynamic, ever-evolving narrative that you write moment by moment, choice by choice. Clear introduces a radical perspective. You are not your past behaviors. You are not your current circumstances. You are the continuous process of becoming. Habits are not a destination. They are a perpetual conversation between who you are and who you are becoming. Consider the profound difference between these two statements. I want to read more book versus I am a reader. I want to get fit versus I am an athlete. One is a wish. The other is an identity. Your habits are not about the outcome. They are about the system of small, seemingly insignificant choices that reshape your sense of self. Most people approach change like a military campaign. Massive effort, dramatic declarations, total war against their current self. But real transformation, it's more like gentle gardening, consistent nurturing, patient cultivation. Clear shares a story that becomes a metaphor for human potential. A British cycling team was terrible for decades, marginally competitive, perpetually disappointed. Then they hired a new performance director who implemented a radical philosophy. What if we improved everything by just 1%? They didn't just train harder. They analyzed everything. The perfect pillow for better sleep. The optimal nutrition. The most aerodynamic cycling suit. The most efficient bike maintenance. 1% improvements. Everywhere. Within a few years, they became the most dominant cycling team in the world. Winning Olympic gold medals. Shattering world records. Your life is that cycling team. 1 degree of change. Multiplied consistently. Compounded relentlessly. The universe respects persistence more than perfection. Your habits are the bridge between your current reality and your potential reality. They are not chains. They are keys. But here's the most important insight. This is not about becoming superhuman. This is about becoming authentically, powerfully human. Some will hear this and create elaborate systems, complicated trackers, intricate motivational strategies. But the true masters of habit understand simplicity. Start small. Stay consistent. Be kind to yourself. Your habits are not a test of willpower. They are an expression of self-love. A mountain is climbed not in a single leap, but through 10,000 steps. Some confident, some trembling, some joyful, some painful, but always, always moving forward. Hit like and subscribe for more game-changing summaries.